A continuation of Part 1, Chapter 2 of Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. The young man said not a word in reply. "Well, sir," the orator continued, in a tone of massive assurance that even had an increased air of dignity about it this time, after he had waited once more for the sniggering which had ensued in the room to die down. "Well, sir, so be it. I am a swine, but she is a lady. I may possess bestial form, but Katerina Ivanovna, my lady wife, is a person of education, and a field officer's daughter. So be it, so be it. I am a blackguard, but she has been filled by her upbringing with both lofty spirit and ennobled feelings. And yet, oh, if she would only take pity upon me. Oh, my dear sir, my dear respected sir, I mean every man must have at least one place where people take pity upon him. Even though Katerina Ivanovna is a magnanimous lady, she is also an unjust one. And though I am well aware, for when she tugs at my locks, she does it solely out of the kindness of her heart. For, I say again without embarrassment, she tugs my locks, young man," he affirmed with a special dignity, having detected more sniggering. "But, oh God, if only one time she would. But no, all that is in vain, and there's no more to be said. For on more than one occasion I attained that which I desired, and pity was shown on me in more than one occasion. But such is my proclivity. I am a born brute." "You can say that again," the owner of the bar remarked, yawning. Marmeladov resolutely hammered his fist down upon the table. "Such is my proclivity. Do you know, dear sir, that I even bartered her stockings for a drink? Not her shoes, sir, for that would have been ever so slightly in the normal way of events, but her stockings. It was her stockings that I pawned. She had a little mohair scarf given to her as a present before our marriage. It was hers, not mine, and I bartered that too. Yet we live in a cold corner of a room, and that winter she caught a chill and began to cough. Brought up blood, she did. And we have 3 little children, and Katerina Ivanovna works from morning till night, scrubbing and washing and bathing the children, for she's been used to cleanliness since an early age. And she has a weak chest and a predisposition to tuberculosis. And I feel that. How could I not feel it? The more I drink, the more I feel. That's the reason for my drinking. I'm looking for feelings and compassion within it. Not revelry do I seek, but pure sorrow. I drink for I desire to suffer doubly. Doubly. And as if in despair, he let his head sink down onto the table. "Young man," he went on, straightening up, "in your features I seem to read a certain unhappiness. I saw it as soon as you came in, and that's why I lost no time in appealing to you. For, in communicating to you the story of my life, I seek to avoid exposing myself to the most grotesque ridicule in the eyes of these lovers of idleness, to whom it is all in any case common knowledge, and come to you perceiving you to be a man of sensitivity and education. I may as well tell you that my lady wife was brought up in a high-class establishment for daughters of the local aristocracy, and at the ball that was held upon her graduation, she danced with the shawl in the presence of the governor and other notables, for which she received a gold medal and a testimonial of good progress. The medal got sold a long time ago, but she still keeps the testimonial in her travelling box, and not so long ago she showed it to our landlady. Even though she exists in the state of the most incessant strife with our landlady, she felt a desire to take a bit of pride in herself in front of someone for a change, and to tell her about her happy bygone days. And I don't condemn her. For these memories are all that remain to her now. The rest have all passed to ashes. Yes, she's a hot-tempered, proud and indomitable lady. She scrubs the floors herself. She lives on black bread. But she won't tolerate disrespect to herself. That's why she made Mr. Lebasnatnikov pay for his coarse behaviour. And when Mr. Lebasnatnikov gave her a battering in return, she took to her bed not so much because of the beating she'd received, but because her feelings had been hurt. She was a widow when I married her, with 3 children, each smaller than the other. Her first marriage, to an infantry officer, had been an affair of the heart. She'd run away from her parents' home in order to be with him. She loved that husband of hers beyond all bounds, but he took to gambling at cards, got into trouble with the law, and then he died. Towards the end, he used to beat her, and although she made him pay for it, in terms for which I have irrefutable and documentary evidence, she remembers him to this day with tears in her eyes, and uses him in order to reproach me. And I'm glad, for even though it's only in her imaginings, she's able to perceive herself as having once been happy. And after his death she was left with 3 little children in the remote and brutish government district where I happened to be at that time, left in such hopeless destitution, moreover, that although I have experienced a good many various things, I am unable even to describe it. Her relatives had all turned their backs on her too, and she was proud, far too proud. And it was then, dear sir, it was then that I, also in a widowed state, with a 14-year-old daughter by my first wife, offered her my hand, for I could not bear to look upon such suffering. You may be able to judge the degrees of her misfortune by the fact that she, an educated, well-brought-up young lady, from a family of renown, should have consented to marry a man such as myself. But marry me she did. Weeping and sobbing and wringing her hands, she married me, for she had nowhere left to go. Do you understand? Do you understand, dear sir, what it means to have nowhere left to go? No, that you do not yet understand. And for a whole year I discharged my duties piously and devoutly, and did not touch this. He pointed a finger at his half-shot of vodka. For I do have feelings, but even that failed to please, and I lost my job, which wasn't my fault either. It was because of a staff reorganisation, and then my abstemious came to an end. It is now 1.5 years since we last found ourselves, after wanderings and many tribulations, in this magnificent capital city, adorned as it is with numerous monuments. And here I attained a job, obtained it, and I lost it again. Do you understand, dear sir? This time I lost it through my own fault. For my proclivity started to act up again. Now, we live in a corner, in the apartment of our landlady, Amelia Ivanovna Lipoveshko, and what we live on and how we manage to pay our rent, I do not know. There are a lot of other people living there besides us. It's a Sodom, sir, a Sodom, of the most outrageous kind. Yes, and in the meanwhile, my daughter, the one from my first marriage, had also grown to woman's estate, and the things she had to put up with from her stepmother in the process I will not tell you. For although Katerina Ivanovna is full of magnanimous emotions, she is a hot-tempered and irritable lady, and she likes cutting people short. Yes, sir. Well, there's no point in raking all over that again. As you may imagine, Sonia has received no education. About 4 years ago, I tried to take her myself through the elements of geography and world history, but since I myself was never very strong in those branches of knowledge, and there was no suitable textbooks, for the books that we did have, well, we don't even have them anymore, those books. And that was the end of the whole attempt at her instruction. We stopped at Cyrus of Persia. Later on, when she had already attained maturity, she read a few books of a romantic content. And quite recently, through the agency of Mr. Lebeyanovskov, she obtained a copy of Lew's Physiology. Are you familiar with it, sir? And read it with great interest. She even communicated extracts from it aloud to us. There you have the full extent of her enlightenment. But now, I will address you, my dear respected sir, with a private question on my own account. In your opinion, can a poor but honest girl expect to earn a great deal by honest work? She'll be lucky to earn 15 kopecks a day, sir, if she's honest and has no particular talents. And even that's if she never takes a single moment off. And what's more, State Councillor Klopstock, Ivan Ivanovok, perhaps you've heard of him, has not only to this day refused to give her the money he owes her for the half-dozen shirts she made him, but actually turned her out of his house, stamping his foot and calling her indecent names, on the pretext that the shirt collars were the wrong size and not cut straight. And there are the little ones, with no food in their bellies. And there's Katerina Ivanovna wringing her hands, pacing up and down the room and saying, with the red spots standing out on her cheeks, as they invariably do in this illness, "You live with us, you female parasite. You eat our food and drink our drink and take advantage of our heating." Yet what could she have been eating and drinking when even the little ones hadn't seen a crust of bread for 3 days? I was lying in bed at the time. Oh, what the hell, I was drunk, sir. And I heard my Sonia. She's as meek as a lamb and has such a gentle little voice, with fair hair, and her little face is always pale and thin. I heard my Sonia say, "Oh no, Katerina Ivanovna, you don't want me to go and do that, do you?" Yet Daria Franzovka, an ill-intentioned woman who's been in trouble with the police on many occasions, had already been once or twice to make inquiries through the landlady. So what if I do? Replied Katerina Ivanovna mockingly. What's there to protect? Some treasure? But don't blame her. Don't blame her, dear sir. Don't blame her. It was something she said when she wasn't in full possession of her faculties. She was ill and agitated, and her children had had nothing to eat and were crying. It was said more in order to wound than in any precise sense, for that's just the way Katerina Ivanovna is by nature. As soon as the children cry, for example, even if it's because they are hungry, she immediately begins to beat them. Well, then I saw Sonechka. This would be about 6 o'clock in the evening. Get up, put on her shawl and her burnous mantlet, and leave the apartment, and at 9 o'clock she came back again. She came straight in, went straight up to Katerina Ivanovna and silently put down 30 rubles upon the table. Cheers.